Welcome back to the Learn How to Use WonderLogix Studio training series. In this episode, we're going to continue building our water supply system. And in this episode, we'll be working on our final change order 2, for our water supply system. So in this case, we want to make some changes so that some additional conditions for enabling the pumping action will be in place. So we're going to add a switch so that the operators can disable the system without having to actually just go unplug or disconnect power. And we're going to add a warning light so we can indicate when there is a failure in the pumping system. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about why we've been adding tags to our components and how to search for things. So here's a quick reminder of our drawing of what we're doing here. We've got our water tank with its level transmitter and the redundant pumping system with its water level switch high. Then we added the level switch high switch in the last change order to the water tank so that it wouldn't overflow. And now we're going to add the operation switch and the failure indicator light. Now you notice in our drawing that we've been adding the tags that the drawing specifies, right? So the level transmitter is LT201, for example, or the level switch high in the pumping system was LSH101. Here in WonderLogix in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see this little sort of like a magnifying glass. That's our search bar there. Just click that and that'll open that up. And one of the reasons we've been tagging our components to match our drawing is so that, especially for more complicated drawings, it's easier to find the things you're looking for and be sure we're working on the right component. So let's say we wanted to find the level transmitter. We could just type in the tag that we added, the LT201. And you can see that as we type that, it just automatically pops up. And then if you hover over that, you'll see this aqua colored background tooltip pop up and tell you that that's in the water supply system in the water tank component, and it's the level transmitter in there. And if you click it, that'll actually take you right to where the level that particular item is. We could also have looked for not just the tag names, we could have looked for the names of the components themselves. So let's say we want to find all the switches. Just type in switch, and everything that has switch in it will pop up there. And you can see that there's a couple of flow switch lows and a couple of flow switch highs. And this one is in the water tank, and this one, it says, is in the water well. And so that way you can be sure that you're going to the right location of the thing that you're looking for. So a very handy tool there. And you can even search for partial things. So let's say you happen to name all your components and sensors by areas. So you'll notice in our drawing that we had the numbers in the 200 range were in the water tank, and the 100 range are in the water well. So we just start typing the 200s here, and there we go. Now we get our components that are in the 200 range. So there's both things in the water tank. Or we can come back and start typing the 100s, and we'll get the item that was there in the water well. And one other thing to point out to you is that not only can you find the components or the tags, but watch this. Let's type in the word level. I can actually find the outputs, inputs, parameters, even properties. So like the maximum level, that's in the water supply system in the water tank. If I click that for that property, look, it takes us right here to where this property is. And then I can close that, and there's the maximum level. And we're going to click over here in the project pane to go back to our root here at the water supply system, and we'll continue on with our course. So we need to add the operation button. And so what we're going to do here is we need to add a switch. We're going to add an instance of the switch class. We're going to call it operation switch. And we're going to double click the name, give that a tag, save. And now we're going to create a property here at this level to be able to tell when we should operate. So we're going to call this operation conditions. So we want to be able to set when those conditions occur. And we're going to open its logic box. And we're going to say here that the water supply system sets the operation conditions only while the operation switch itself is active, right? So only if that button is on that we want to allow the system to run. So check that. Okay, and then we need to go to the water well and tell it how to know when it should operate. So it's an additional condition here, not just when the filling is required from the water tank, but now we want it to be dependent upon the operation switch. So we're going to double click the logic editor for that. We're going to hit the pencil icon to open that. And we're going to add a condition here. So it says to operate the water well only while the water tank reports filling required. And then we're going to go to our last box here and pick and, something else that we're going to need to do. And we want the property operation conditions to be set, right? Power switch for that has to be on. And now we have that logic complete. And notice as I hover over things, like hover over the active output here on the operation switch, things highlight that are related to it. You see the operation conditions there turn purple, right? So you can kind of see what affects that. Or if you hover over operate, it highlights in blue the filling required from the water tank and also highlights the operation conditions again because those are both in there. Okay, so that was good. And now let's add a failure light. So again, we're going to need to create a light. We don't have a light class yet, and so we're going to just go ahead and add a component. We'll call it a failure light. This is a physical component, and we're going to double click its name, give it a tag to match the drawing, XL002, and then we're going to add an input to tell it when to illuminate. And so we're going to open the logic here to tell it when to illuminate, and we want to illuminate the failure light only while the water well reports a failure. Right, so if the water well says it's having a trouble, that was our condition for this change order. We want to be able to report that failure. And now our system has completed the second change order. Now, as a bonus item, one of the things you can do before you send this to your PLC is you're going to want to run the verify model check. And you can see that we have no errors. Everything here is checked out. There's no loose ends. It's all been taken care of. And so now we could proceed to downloading this to our PLC. And that wraps up this video as well as this lesson on the water supply system. Thank you very much for watching, and please check back often to catch some of our additional videos.